This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. It is not intended to cause or induce breach of an existing agency agreement.
This is the Victoria Real Estate Podcast. Welcome to the Victoria Real Estate Podcast, where we discuss everything Victoria Real Estate. I'm Adrian McLaren. I'm joined by
Vincent Bart
and
Jocelyn Shea
and
David Steinberg.
All right. Us three, are real estate agents at Remax Camosun in Greater Victoria, and we are part of the CNS team. And David, you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm from Olympic Mortgage. I have a little mortgage brokerage here in town.
Oh, little.
Don't be modest.
Come on,
Oh.
David. He kills it. What's new? You were just talking about, what was it? Something about Hudson?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So this is kind of a new, exciting story. Hudson's Bay Company, the company that was responsible for the founding of Canada as we know it, was gutted by an American private equity company a couple years ago. Went into receivership a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. This is old news, but new news. There's a Vancouver Island resident who is she's a billionaire. She owns Woodgrove Mall in Nanaimo.
Oh, that's right. I did hear about this.
And she has put a deposit down to pull Hudson's Bay out of receivership, pull it back from the brink, and possibly take over a whole pile of store leases across Canada. So there's a small chance that we're going to actually see this company pull through and see the brand continue on for hopefully another couple hundred years.
I would love it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is just the Canadian in me, the heritage, like, I don't know, Hudson Bay. I think
but when's the last time you actually spent money there?
When did you shop there?
I don't shop there. Yeah,
We all want to support it.
It needs to change. You're right.
I feel like I had this conversation driving by it the other day in Mayfair Mall there, where I'm like, I want to support them because, they are Canadian, diehard Canadian, but they have not evolved at all.
Yeah.
And now we have online shopping. And so as much as I would like to support brick and mortar, I don't want to spend a day trying to find that one cord in a department store.
Yeah. And in-store shopping is struggling. And I think, fast fashion and online shopping has really, like, even H&M, they're taking down like half their stores.
Yeah.
Purely because of like
Online
Temu
shopping.
or...
right.
Whatever.
Good old
Shein.
Yeah.
That's other like fast fashion, like where it's just cheap online, and that's kind of H&M's market. Hudson Bay is a little bit different, so I'm hoping they can maybe niche and kind of make it into something a bit different.
I can understand the one-stop shop, especially now as a mom, where it's like, you could get clothes, you could get a crock pot, you could get shoes, like everything you need is in one place.
But that's also Amazon.
But that's just it. It's everything I need is now.
So I think they need to do a little bit of a revamp. I do really like their colors though. Hudson Bay has one of the best color schemes.
Really nice blankets too.
Yeah.
Bedding.
It's kind of like a collective failure on all of us, really, for letting our Canadian companies go by the wayside.
So
I'm
true.
also worried for Canada Post.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't want to have to spend $5 to send a letter.
What's going on with Canada Post? I'm out of the loop.
They're a crown corporation that's just losing money,
Right.
and they the postal workers probably need a fair contract at least, and that's part of what's happening with Canada Post. But generally, it's not necessarily a hugely profitable organization like FedEx or Purolator.
Right.
But I don't want FedEx or Purolator to come into this country and own our mail system.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I think we need to watch out, and Hudson's Bay is just like it's the warning.
Yeah.
But this is continually happening. We've also lost Air Canada. Air Canada is a private company.
Oh,
well,
okay.
Air Canada has been a private company for a long time.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But
it's also, it's that like resistance to change from these companies as well, where it's hard when you don't see any change in a company like Canada Post, for example, where it is slower. It is more challenging to mail stuff through them. And I want to support them, and I want them to continue to be here because I agree with you. I don't want to see FedEx and Purolator take over. But it also needs to be at least comparable to the other stuff in order to survive in today's market.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've had only bad experiences with FedEx and Purolator. So.
Purolator's brutal.
It's horrible.
I'm gonna throw it out there.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's the worst. I've had good experiences there with
Canada Post.
Thank you.
Yep. Not Air Canada.
So I'll put that out there.
Mhm.
Any other? What else is new, guys? Anything else happen?
I drove from Victoria to Calgary and back. That
When?
was nice.
You've been busy.
Just a couple weeks, like almost 2 weekends ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, for a sort of like a family reunion kind of thing.
Oh, you have family out there?
Yeah,
Nice.
I've got family in Calgary. Actually, the family reunion was in Canmore. So
Ooh, I love
Beautiful.
Canmore.
beautiful. Yeah,
Canmore's awesome.
Before it became its own country. Maybe.
Canmore's its own
Too
country.
soon.
Oh
Alberta.
yeah, Alberta, right? Yes.
Too soon.
Jocelyn, what about you?
What did I do this week? Yeah, I don't know. Lots of work, lots of nice weather.
Yeah, you're looking tan.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been catching a couple of rays here and there where I can. It's tough, but yeah, and it was Mother's Day on Sunday, so
Yeah.
yeah, got to
Awesome.
spend some time.
Oh
with
yeah,
the
Mother's
family.
Day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everyone had a good Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Spend some time with the moms out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I missed Mother's Day.
Mhm. And why?
Well, I just got back yesterday at like 4 p.m. from Colombia. I was there for 12 days.
Columbia, not British Columbia.
Yeah, Colombia. So for today's podcast, I'm going to be more of the question master here. You guys are going to catch me up.
And you're not just trying to seem interested. Like you genuinely have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I need you guys.
Well,
to
because
catch me up,
Adrian
fill
lost
me
his
in.
phone on like the second day of the trip,
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
You lost your
been-
phone?
Yeah.
Well, it was
Oh, wow.
it was pickpocketed.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a 3-man operation. I walked into a crowd of people. One guy drops his hat in front of me, shakes my pant leg, and I'm like, that's weird. And I'm like, immediately realize something's off. Go to touch my pant pocket. Someone from behind me went in, took it,
Grab
and
your
then that
phone.
person handed off to a third person, and then all three of them scattered
Wow.
in this crowd. And then there's
Can you even sell a phone though now? Because they're so hard to actually break
I'm
into.
sure I have no idea.
Well, maybe androids are easier
Oh,
to make.
that
yeah.
is actually a good point. I will give you that. It
Yes.
is easier
Point
to
for Apple.
hack into Androids, but I remotely wiped it and it's fine. But yeah, that was fun.
Mhm.
It was a great trip. But I am so excited to be home.
Back.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be back. And yeah, so I'm excited for you guys to fill me in.
Mhm.
So let's get into it.
Mhm.
Summary of the podcast today, a little bit of real estate news and some new developments. I'm actually going to tackle that one. And then we're doing a neighborhood highlight Songhees.
Mhm.
And then we're going to do a market update. And we're actually going to start off with David talking about some
Mhm.
mortgage updates and then what's going on in the world right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I
Wanna
just hop right in.
Just
hop
right
in.
in.
Yeah. Bring out those papers.
Yeah. No, there's nothing really in the. I don't even know why I bring the papers. I think it's more
it's
just
a
in,
great
like,
prop. I love it.
It's a good prop.
But maybe just to try to show people that I'm like trying to stay
Yeah.
up with the
Current.
news.
The
But
dates last week.
what's that?
Their last week's paper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're from months ago. So now Trump is, because we have to talk about him a little bit.
Mm,
Well, he's starting to fold on all of his, threats to the world. So
Shocking.
China, it sounds like Trump or the United States and China are coming to a trade agreement now, and the United States and Britain also have their trade agreement.
Yeah, I saw
almost
that.
done.
Mhm.
So, Trump's folding like cheap playing cards.
Yeah. Well, he got all of his buddies in low on
Yeah.
stocks, and then
Yeah.
now time to
Yeah, now he's
Trim
like,
back
oh,
up."
just kidding.
Realize that you can't piss off the whole world
Mhm.
Yeah.
and not have some consequences. So I think things generally with the economy are going to be moving back to somewhat of a normal kind of. We're not going to be hit by massive tariff effects
right.
on our economy. So now I think we're just, with regards to how the economy is going, it's still just a wait and see. Are we going to go into a recession? Are we not going to go into a recession? And it's just a wait and see game right now. With regards to, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. When was the most recent rate announcement? Was it
May.
in May?
Yeah.
While I was gone?
Or was it April?
No,
April.
it was April.
End of April.
April.
I don't
It
even
was
know.
flat.
I don't know what
So
month
holding
it is right
steady.
now.
They
So-
held steady.
Where
Yeah.
are rates right now?
So prime rate is at 4.95.
Yep.
And I think that would make the overnight rate. It doesn't matter what the overnight rate
Like,
is.
what are the mortgage?
so
What are people getting now?
Prime rate is 4.95.
Okay.
The lowest 5-year fixed rates that I'm seeing right now are around 3.94 for a
Nice.
5-year
Wow.
fix.
That's great.
That's, keep in mind, just for a high ratio
Yes.
deal.
Yeah.
And even now, the size of the deal can matter
Yeah.
with regards to the amount of the discount.
Yeah. Are banks, are you finding, are they becoming a bit more strict or tightening up a little bit in terms of what they're accepting? Or
Yeah, so thank you for leading me into my next part of my mortgage update, is that yes, banks are definitely becoming stricter with their underwriting process. Not even with their process. Nothing's necessarily changed
Right.
with the bank's underwriting process. I'm just finding that their appetite for certain deals has gone down. So
Interesting.
a couple months ago, if I would have submitted a deal that I thought was, doable, very strong, there would be a very good chance of an approval. And just this last week, I did have 2 deals that were declined.
Interesting.
And I don't like
that you felt good about.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't ever like to admit this, like in public, because I don't get
It's
declined.
just us.
I always figure. Yeah,
well,
just
I mean,
you guys.
and technically, this isn't your failure.
No,
you know,
I mean-
like you're everyone. You have the exposure to the tools. You're submitting it the best way
Yeah.
you can, and the bank is
Like,
just
it's basically like I knew that the deal was far off.
yeah.
I knew that it was far off, but it was like everything else about the deal was so strong,
Yeah.
which is what, and the only thing that was far off was debt servicing ratio.
Yeah.
So the loan to value was low. This guy was putting down more than 50% of the value of the home.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And he had other savings on the side. He had a good credit score. He had his $100,000 truck paid off, but he also has a child support payment of $1,000, which completely threw his ratios. And he's got a normal job.
So what was the ratio and
So-
that got failed?
His ratio. So I submitted it, and maybe some other mortgage brokers are going to laugh and be like, "Oh, why did you submit that?" When
Yeah.
it's almost known to just get a decline. So the ratio was 67% debt servicing,
Right.
which is way above the 44%.
Right.
So technically, it has to be under 44. But really, most banks will still approve something if it makes sense. If it's under,
Because
if that debt
if
servicing
you
ratio
tell
is
the
under
story
50.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you tell a story, they'll still approve it. Maybe if it's under 50%.
Yeah.
Now this was 67%. So I probably just shouldn't have even be talking
well,
about
no,
this.
David, I think that shows what you're willing to do for your clients.
Oh, I mean,
Because you're right, like you just said, I've talked to tons of mortgage brokers who are like, no, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not doing that. But you're still trying.
I always
even
shoot
though,
for the AAA lending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though maybe it's going to be a no, you're still putting your foot
Yeah.
out there, trying to get your clients the best.
Always.
Yeah. So
Always.
I personally love that.
Thank you. And I always try to figure out the best way to submit a file. Like I think of all the aspects of the file. If people own 2 properties, I help them figure out which property they're going to be living in and which one they're not going to be living in. There's a lot of little details that we have to figure out with these deals, and I always try for AAA lending.
Yep.
And the banks just have less appetite now for deals that aren't debt servicing, and I think it's because of all this uncertainty that's happening.
Yep.
So nothing's changed with policy, though. It's just kind of like how they feel about it. They're like, maybe I'm not feeling this
Not
now.
willing to take
It's
the
kind
risk.
of like real estate, though. I mean, it is very feelings based when you see,
Mhm.
the market dropping. And there's nothing really going on other than people are feeling uncertain, and there
Right.
is this question mark. So
Right.
Yeah. Did
So-
you want to segue back into?
Mortgage rates?
Well, no, I was gonna say, but we did the mortgage rate kind of section there, but you were talking about tariffs and the overall market. I wasn't sure if you finished your point there.
It's just it just overall paints everything with uncertainty.
Yeah.
So we're all sort of living in this uncertainty kind of land, even though I don't know from reading what I've read, I don't know how much these tariffs have still actually affected our economy. I don't know.
not so
Except-
much in Victoria.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not so much in Victoria,
Ontario,
except
they've seen it seems.
yeah, the papers make it seem like the effects are going to be huge and massive.
The end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing happens, which is good for us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I
we
think
don't
I think there are cities that it has
Yeah.
affected
Yes.
a lot more than Victoria. And yeah, you're right. In Victoria, I feel like we haven't even felt it.
No.
No,
Or I haven't
although my daughter's favorite granola bars have gone up in price. So
No,
that
not the
hurt.
granola bars.
Yeah, 50 cents more. Oh.
The
felt
squeeze.
that one.
It's the squeeze, yeah.
I did
It's
feel
the
that.
regular squeeze that happens on us,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like things that were $5 a year ago are going to be $6.50 now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we all have to kind of accept it, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's hard to see too, because sometimes you do feel like people are just taking advantage of what's happening and prices
Mhm.
are just starting. We
Just
saw that
starting to
through
go
COVID
up.
a little bit, where
Right.
it was supply chain, but was it? And yeah, we'll see. So there is a little bit of that predatory behavior happening, I think,
Mhm.
but it's not too bad here.
Yeah.
People aren't losing their jobs, so that I know of.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to touch on, David? Or
No, I think that's mostly everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the main thing that I want to touch on is that right now, with the banks being with things being so uncertain, it's just really important for people to deal with the best, deal
Mhm.
with the professionals. And I'm not saying just deal with me, even though I do think I'm the best. I'm just
I
saying
love it.
make sure that you have confidence in who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because it's important these days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, thank you.
Mhm.
One quick thing that my only segment on the podcast today is I have this news article I was reading this morning of 2 new housing developments in Victoria. That's down on Pandora and Discovery. Have you guys heard about that?
No.
Oh, Pandora. No, I know about the one on Pandora, right beside McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
This is 926 930 Pandora, and these
Yeah.
are all rental
Yeah.
and affordable. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they just announced. I think this going to be like the biggest. I think the biggest supportive affordable housing that has the BC backing in Victoria,
Mm.
and they're basically putting up 300 new homes down there.
That's a lot of homes.
Yeah, and they're
Mhm.
focusing on affordable rentals, supportive housing, and it's backed by $100 million of provincial investment, and then it's part of the BC's $19 billion housing strategy.
Mhm.
The first one, Pandora Ave, 926 930 Pandora, 21-story building, replacing the current vacant structures, 158 affordable rental units, and 47 supportive housing units. And this includes like community space, potential childcare they're going to be putting in there, affordable units to be managed by the Capital Region Housing Corporation, and the supportive units are going to be run by a nonprofit provider. Not sure who that is at this point, if it's going to be someone who's already working locally or if it's going to be somebody else. That one's going to be, they're estimating spring 2029. And then the other one is on Discovery Street, 726 Discovery. And that's an 8-story building with 90 supportive studio units. And this is designed for people experiencing at-risk homelessness. Each unit provides a private bathroom. Because a lot of the other homeless buildings that have, or that ones that are currently being utilized, are old retirement homes or old
Sure, like on Johnson Street.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
or they're old hotels.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time they don't have a private bathroom. There's like a bathroom in
Mhm.
the hallway, and so I'm really interested to see how this one works out. There's others around the city, and then they've done a lot better than I think the ones that have been reutilized are a bit rough around the edges,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
and so a lot of the ones that are newer, like down in Vic West or Esquimalt, they're actually like quite contained, have good security, and they're run quite well. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping we can kind of trend more in that direction. And again, each unit has private bath. Building will have 24/7 staffing, meals, counseling, healthcare. And this one's going to be operated by Our Place Society. And that one's estimated completion is mid 2027.
Oh.
So yeah, how do you guys think that like this 300 new units in the downtown core? Obviously, it's providing a much needed service for Victoria because
Mhm.
we have a homelessness issue.
Mhm.
How do you guys feel about that being added to the area? Do you think it's going to affect current condos or other things down there?
Well, I'll jump in on the
Yeah.
Pandora project specifically. I've been following that piece of land for many years. It actually all started back in high school for me.
Wow.
I worked at McDonald's on Pandora, and I worked firsthand on the front lines, as it were, flipping burgers, when there was a needle exchange just down the street. And so I've seen that area go from really bad to even worse.
Mhm.
And during COVID, the tent city that popped up along Pandora, the bylaw kind of people coming in and sweeping out the camps, but then the camps would just pop up the next day. So that's been a really, really tough spot. So just for context for listeners that might know the downtown core, it's right across the street from Our Place and right beside McDonald's. So on the side of Pandora that has the McDonald's, the idea of building childcare spaces in that area and affordable housing for families, frankly, scares me to no end.
Yep.
But just because it's been a really rough area for so many years doesn't mean that it always has to continue. So this is an interesting model where they're trying to gentrify a little bit,
Yeah.
but you're always going to have the challenge because our place is right across the street.
And
so
one of these buildings is going to be managed by our place as well.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, just looking in that neighborhood, there's the Save on Foods right across the street, right across Vancouver Street, I think it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a BOSA project. It's a rental, purpose-built rental, beautiful. If you go to Save on Foods today, you'll see they have security guards working in pairs there because it's just such a violent, negative space. And BOSA actually is selling that building off now there. So if you're looking to buy an apartment building, it's for sale. Not with us, but yeah, it's currently listed. So to me, that says there's this hope for gentrification in the area. There has been hope in that area for, the better part of a decade. I remember my first listing ever was 1 block away over on Mason Street. And even back then, I mean, it was rough. Like I used to have to go and kick squatters out of this listing before showings. It was wild.
Really?
Quite the education. Yeah.
Wait, so you're heading into your listing and there would be someone who's broken in.
And they were sleeping in the living room and I'd say, hey, if you guys can be out of here in 10 minutes, I won't phone the police. I'm dead serious. And I'd be super respectful. And I'd say, look, pack up, get out of here. You can come back in an hour. No, I didn't say that. But I said, please get out of the space. Otherwise I'll call the police and they'll really clear you out. I had one night, it was a Friday night, and I saw flashlights on inside the house. So empty house, scary.
Ooh.
And I said, I don't know if I really want to go in there and kick people out. So I called the police. And so for them, it was a wonderful training exercise. You can hear through the windows, people yelling, clear, clear, clear. They had the police dog. It was really exciting. I'm totally digressing.
No, we need more of that.
The point of this story is
content.
Pandora has been, that 900 block of Pandora has been a real struggle for, since I was in high school. And I don't see this necessarily fixing the problem. It is moving in the right direction. We do need more supportive housing. I also have questions about the cost, but we'll talk about that on a subsequent episode. Really excited to see a vacant lot, a vacant warehouse finally being turned into something, higher and better use for the space. So that's exciting.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think it's always going to be a hard sell for families. I think that's the biggest thing is I can see why we also need childcare. That is something that we're lacking. So I can see if the space is going to be there, but my family clients don't necessarily want to be in that area.
No, but these aren't the people that are buying. Frankly, these are people that
they have to be.
Their alternative is a 1970s basement suite with a 6-foot ceiling.
Well,
and so if we're trying to provide, better housing, better quality stock, I think that's really encouraging.
And affordable, which, is great. It's great to see in Victoria, but I will always present a challenge, I think, in that area.
You can really only, I guess, hope that, this all goes well and it starts trending in the right direction. But only time will tell.
Yeah, so that's Pandora. I don't know anything about the Discovery Street other than this was kind of a fun. It's not fun. Fun's the wrong word. I feel like that's the wrong word to use here. There was a construction project that had a concrete floor pour. This was a month ago, and someone caught it on camera.
Yeah,
the floor collapsed. This is the kind of stuff you see on YouTube.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Epic fails, and it was in Victoria. Thankfully, I think everyone was okay.
He was completely fine apparently, which is
crazy.
Insane. Yeah, look it up if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's this guy
nuts.
just floating around on this skimmer, I think they call it. Anyways, he's finishing the concrete, and then the floor just opens up, and it's this whirlpool of wet cement that drops out from under him. And there's another guy in gumboots trying to run away, but he's stuck in the cement.
I thought it was AI when I first saw it.
It's crazy.
To be honest, it's just one of those things. Yeah, so not great light for the project, but hopefully the next pour will be better.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Exactly. Awesome. Should we head over to Songhees?
Yeah, I feel like
Let's do it.
Different shift here. But let's talk about Songhees, which I think a lot I think is Vic West, because really it is kind of part of the Vic West.
Yeah, honestly,
neighborhood.
I kind of just lump them together.
Well, and I'll comment too. VREB is really interesting. We have different neighborhoods and different definitions for things, but Vic West is the only area where there is a Vic West region, and then there's also a Vic West neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you'll see like VW Vic West. It is kind of confusing.
Yes, it is a little confusing. And but they're very different in what they are. Like Songhees is kind of, I don't know, this almost feels like a ghost town of condos sometimes when you're down there, because that's really all there is at the waterfront there. It's just a ton of condos, ton of townhouses.
Yep.
There's the walkway along it, but there's all of the commercial business and stuff is
All in Vic
in
West.
Vic West. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of weird little conclave.
I would say it's kind of like the luxury side of Vic
It is.
West.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because almost everything is waterfront. I mean, they're
Yep.
beautiful. Like older condos now. A lot of the buildings are quite a bit older, but still, you get these like spectacular waterfront views. You've
Yep.
got harbor planes landing in your backyard.
Yeah. I honestly really like the Songhees. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think Vic West is like more of like the younger,
It's
hipper
cooler.
part of
Yeah.
Vic West, and then the Songhees is like
Bingo.
Yeah.
the luxury. I would say a lot older of a
Older,
demographic.
yeah.
55 plus.
Yep,
Yeah,
55
plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have like those nice. Well, what's nicer that it's older is like a lot of the condos or townhomes are large.
Yes.
So the condos are all 1,000
Massive.
plus square feet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Anytime I have someone looking for waterfront, but that needs to be like 1,400 square feet,
That's the
it's like
spot.
Songhees. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they just don't make condos that big
Yeah.
unless they're like full luxury.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's got a lot going for it. I will say, I think it could have been better planned in the beginning.
Agreed.
In that it's so walkable. It has like the potential to be such a great neighborhood. But yeah, they didn't put as much commercial in. So,
But I think with Roundhouse.
Oh, the
yeah,
roundhouse.
the roundhouse.
There's
Yeah.
hope.
Is yeah.
There's hope.
What, is
Yeah.
there any? Do you know if there's any? You would know if there's any update. Is there anything? Have they made any progress?
No, I've heard nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Building permits
I would
have been
say,
issued.
was it a year
Mhm.
ago they had that open house where they
Mhm.
brought everyone in and they're really making a push with city council.
Oh, and it got approved.
Okay,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
no, they haven't not breaking ground.
Maybe waiting until it is more financially feasible.
Yeah, I mean they've
Mhm.
waited how long now? Like 20
20 years.
20
Yeah.
years.
Over 20 years.
So what's an extra?
10?
two.
You know,
Yeah.
I'd love to have the developer on the show. I think that'd be such an interesting interview because he has
Mhm.
seen Vic West grow up all around his development.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'd
And-
love to
And
interview
for
him.
people who don't know, it's the across from the what park is that?
Vic West Park.
Vic
isn't
West
it?
Park.
Yeah,
Park?
across from
Skate
the
park.
Skateboard park,
Across
right?
from the
Yeah.
skateboard park, they have that like the train station.
Mhm.
That's like just basically a big gravel pit, and they have those big old heritage,
Roundhouses.
Roundhouses,
for the trains. That whole area, they have a giant development plan to put up
Mhm.
like 4 towers,
Yeah.
restaurants, commercial shops, all that stuff. And in my mind, when I looked at the development, it kind of really reminded me of Olympic Village in
Yeah.
Nice.
Vancouver.
In
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Which is-
plans are awesome.
Yeah.
And if it does get done, I think it's going to put a lot of life into Songhees,
Yeah.
which, may be good and bad depending on what the residents of Songhees want.
Well, that's kind of the thing. I think there was a large pushback, like any other development in Victoria, of locals, saying
We don't want
these
this.
tall buildings are going to
Mhm.
ruin this area, and
Yeah.
and I don't know. Maybe I'm just swayed, but I personally think it would be awesome. So
Yeah. I mean, the young person in me is like, yeah, more restaurants, more cafes,
Yeah.
things that we can bike to, stay in our
Of
car.
course.
But that's not the population of Songhees
No.
for the most part. So, yeah, I could see why the pushback is there.
And I mean, it makes sense, like, right? Like the people living there, they're gonna have to deal with 10 years of construction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
more.
Probably
Yeah.
more. Yeah. So, obviously, that's not hugely popular.
No.
I can understand that. I feel like I can't talk about the Songhees and not talk about Boom and Batten,
Yes.
which is fantastic. It's a restaurant. If you haven't been there, I highly suggest checking it out.
Yeah, I went
and-
there recently, and I had like the best cocktail I've ever had in Victoria. I think.
Ooh,
Yeah. It was
yeah.
some fancy sour.
Whiskey sour?
No, it was like a
That's like outdated now.
yeah. It's got if all the sours now they have egg whites.
Whiskey
sours
sours have
have
egg
egg
whites?
whites.
but they
sours have always
but
had
they
egg whites.
they'll infuse it with some sort of flour.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
or,
right.
You know,
Elevated sour.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a mocktail there, and I gotta say, delicious
Yeah.
mocktail. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was really tasty.
Is Spinnaker's Songhees?
No, technically it's Vic West. Although it depends on which.
okay.
Yeah, it depends on
yeah.
what you're looking at. If you look at the VREP map, it's like literally
Just okay. Well, we'll throw Spinnaker's in
in
there.
behind. Yeah,
Was that? Yeah, we already talked about it probably on the Vic West one,
We
but
d-
oldest
we-
brew pub in
oldest brew pub.
Victoria?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we talked
In
about it
Canada.
in Vic West.
Canada.
Or
Oh
is
my
it
God.
Swans? Oh, shoot. One of them's really old.
I think it's Spinnaker's. I think it's
Both are
Spinnaker's.
really cool.
They're both
Yeah.
really old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Vince mentioned Lure as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lure's nice.
By the way, if you're a listener and you want to get 10% off at Lure for the rest of your life, I actually have some cards in my car that will entitle you to 10% off Lure for the rest of your life.
So if you ever see Vince driving around Victoria,
just email me.
Stop him.
How do I get one of those?
Yeah, I've got them.
That's
Yeah,
great. How did you get that?
I know some people.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
I'll
Don't
do
ask
it.
too many questions.
I'll do another
Taylor.
really quick plug for Songies. I host a monthly breakfast club there. We call it the Vic West Breakfast Club. Super original.
Shouldn't it be the Songies?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
She
true.
got you there.
It's true. But yeah, it's for small business owners or small business owner adjacent, and we meet once a month. It's a breakfast at Lure, and it's just a really good time to meet other local businesses that are in Esquimalt downtown or kind of adjacent, and
Do some networking.
and have
Yeah.
some breakfast.
Learn.
Very casual. We'll have some speakers sometimes, and it's just a great way to meet with some other business owners.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Is that it for Songies?
Yeah, I think so. Unless
There's
you're
not
a big-
much- there's not much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not very big. I don't know. Go down and check out the super yachts because there is
True.
like
Actually-
a marina right there.
Yeah.
That's what makes Boom and Batten like it's
Yes.
a completely different experience.
Yeah, depending on when
from
you
one
go.
time to the other
Mhm.
because
Great
they
point.
have the yacht. If they have the yacht
Mhm.
parked right in front, it blocks the whole view.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is kind of funny because I have clients who bought in Songies, and that was their number one complaint. Is like sometimes when we go to Songies, we don't get, or we go to Boom Bat, we don't get the nice ocean view because
Yeah.
there's a giant yacht parked
It
right
totally
out
depends. Yeah,
front.
sometimes it's like beautiful, stunning waterfront
Yeah.
views, and sometimes it's like a white panel of
Yep.
boat.
Well, imagine if you're the owner and you're just like trying to have, I don't know, watch the sports game in your salon of your $1 million yacht, and there's all these people just like drinking their mocktails looking into your living room. That's weird.
Oh, what a tough life
Yeah.
they must
Yeah.
have.
I
know. You know what?
I don't
I
feel
think-
bad
Windows
for
are
them.
tinted on that yacht. I think.
That's
The windows
right.
are tinted.
They've
so.
got a guy to come and like
Yeah.
stand in
Yeah.
front of it. Nobody feels bad for those
Jeez,
guys.
No, I don't feel bad. You tried, Vince, but no.
Yeah,
No
that,
cigar
yeah.
there.
I would say that sums it up, though. Yeah, not a lot about Songhees. Nice place if you're looking for older, big condos
Cool.
and townhouses.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Should we head into the market update?
Bum, bum, bum.
How is the market?
Yeah, well, you guys tell me.
Yeah.
Fill me in. What's over the last 2 weeks? Let's actually just go through all of you. Over the last like 2 weeks since I've been gone, since like April 30th, what have you noticed? Any changes? Any,
Mhm.
you know?
My phones are really busy.
You keep
But
saying that,
mostly
David.
mostly people just asking if they should do something or not.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, should I do something? Should I not do something? And I always have the same answer for them.
Yes.
Yes, you should do something because you're not just buying like an investment, you're buying a home for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so anyways, that's my update. My phones are busy.
Cool.
Yeah, I think same. I would say after the federal election, it seemed like a little bit of the uncertainty has been
Yeah, that's
cleared
kind of,
up.
I mean, just
Mhm.
personally what I've noticed as well. Like people
Mhm.
just feeling a little bit more at ease.
Yeah,
Like
a little just knowing
what's going to happen.
what's going to happen
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
Yeah, there was just too many question
Mhm.
marks, I think, for the
Yep.
last 3 weeks of April. So now a little more confidence. Yeah, still, I would say a little more hand holding in terms of people feeling good about stepping forward,
Yeah.
but it's okay. That's what we're here for.
you go.
So, to help you make that decision. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a busy May.
Yeah. And what about you,
Mhm.
Vince? What have you noticed?
Yeah, well, I mean, condos continue to be on the slower side, slower from where I'd like them to be.
Yeah.
But condos are usually the slowest to pick up. So
and
now-
we were talking about how it's mostly 1 bedroom.
yeah,
studio,
smaller. Yeah, downtown core is it's a slower market.
But the larger 2 beds maybe
Yeah.
a bit more competitive.
Mhm.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're looking at a townhome is the next sort of price point up.
Mhm.
2-3 bedroom townhomes are $950, $900, $1 million. So if you can get a 2-bedroom condo for $750, it's okay.
Good cost savings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you want to head into give us a little update in terms of numbers and stuff?
Yeah. So inventory's been really interesting. It's strong, but it's not. We're not shattering any records. We're moving closer to the sort of moving 10-year average. So when people are saying, "Oh, it's taking too long to sell my home,"
It's Vince's voice,
Whenever you do the average consumer
you don't like it.
voice.
You don't like it, hey? Yeah. Okay. I need better impressions. But if we're looking at disgruntled sellers, we're used to stuff selling in 7 days,
Yeah, of
and it's
course,
just
yeah.
that's not normal.
Not
And so
normal.
it's just normal to say, hey, when we've got a listing, there's a campaign we launch. It's a multi-week, multi-month in some cases project to get a home sold, and buyers have choice, and they are able to sit back and book a second showing or, negotiate a little bit on the price. Like they have options. They didn't a couple years ago. So just re-educating sellers, I think, is really important, but also getting those buyers off the fence and saying, like, if not now, when?
When?
When are you looking for something else? People say, oh, it's a bubble, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're past all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now it's just further to your point, David, we have to stop looking at real estate just through the lens of a graph. It's not a commodity. Yes, it's a commodity, but it's not meant to be a commodity. It's also a home. And,
Yeah.
if you're saying, well, hey, should I buy now or should I wait till I have like just whatever makes sense for your family and for your investment goals, that to me is really where we should be going. So, pricing trends, where are we going? I mean, detached price is the highest it's been in 3 years. Okay.
Yep.
But it's not the highest it's ever been. So we're just kind of trucking along. It's just business as usual with more selection and more balance. So that's really...
seeing the average detached price almost hitting 1.4 is surprising.
I'm
Very
not
high.
surprised by that, to
No?
be honest. No, because I think with the new mortgage rules where they can put less down up to 1.5.
True.
I do think we're seeing the direct response to that where people can afford more with less down. So
And I do feel over the last 3 years, I think luxury really suffered. And I would say this year I've noticed luxury pick back up.
yeah.
Like it's starting to move a bit more versus
just-
sit. Because I noticed over the last 3 years, like some luxury listings sitting for a year, 2 years. And those will really bump up the averages as well.
Yeah.
with
Well,
them.
and seeing the amount of activity that's happening between 1.3 and 1.6 right now,
Yep.
where normally that would kind of be if I had buyers that could qualify for that. That's kind of the range I would say, okay, things are a little bit slower. You have a little more options. It's not as competitive.
Yeah.
It's competitive right now in that part of the market, especially if it has a suite, especially if it's a nice listing
Yeah.
and it shows value, then I am still seeing multiple offers on those properties. So yeah, that's different than it was this time last year.
That's a good point. Yeah. Because I would say like last year, this time, I would agree with you that 1.3, 1.6 was like you had a lot more time, a lot more negotiating power. It wasn't moving as fast. So yeah, that is something that's changed.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember a certain visionary podcaster a couple months ago. Maybe it was on the show. Who knows? But they were saying that prices will go to 1.5 in the very near future. And I see it when I look at these trends. I don't know who said it. Might have been me. Who knows? But we're going to get up that 1.5 in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You can bet on it.
Which is,
Bridge, just on a side note, also more when people call and ask me about bridging or like they're selling their home, but they're also buying another house. I'm leaning more towards the telling my client that you just have to sell your home first.
Yep.
Because too many people are calling me and kind of like trying to plan out things for the next house and like how much of a house can I afford? And I said, well, that all depends on how much you're going to sell your house for.
Yeah.
And then they have this ideas of what their house is going to sell for.
And it's not
And then it
as
doesn't,
realistic.
and then
Not
it's not
accurate.
selling. I have some clients right now who are like, their house is listed and it's sitting, and they're like, well, assuming I sell for this, I'm going to be able to get that. And right, I said, assuming you can sell for that.
Yeah, and
even
it's been
though-
on the market for
Yeah.
Well,
So-
and subject to sale is challenging right now in
Very,
single family.
yeah.
Very, very challenging. Where it wasn't, last winter,
Mhm.
we could get a subject to sale, but now it's really challenging. So yeah, I agree with you. I think people have to be in the position where they know what their home will sell for.
Mhm.
Yep.
They have to wade a little bit more into the unknown of where they're going, because you have to sell your house first, unless you got a ton of equity. Now there are some folks that I've proposed. I said, well, you have a ton of equity, so you can actually keep this house and purchase the next house at the same time. But some people love that idea, and then some people absolutely hate it. And I have to make sure that my client knows both sides of the coin.
So what is a strategy that you and your clients that you're working with mostly right now? What to sell and do a longer closing to give you time, or move into a rental? Like what have you experienced?
Well, yeah, I generally say, like, if the client has enough equity,
Yep.
and I just say it ultimately, if the person has enough equity, then it always depends on what they're going to be purchasing.
Right.
So if they come across a property that they absolutely love and absolutely have to have, then I say, okay, we'll make a bridge work by using the equity in your existing home and you're not even going to worry about selling the existing home until after you bought the new house.
Right.
And then, but with some people who don't have a lot of equity, then I say, okay, well, yeah, sell your house, be aggressive on the sale to get a sale. And then, yeah, put the closing date out as far as you can to give yourself time to find something else.
Yep.
And that just allows you to be very aggressive on the purchase.
Yep.
Then you don't have to put it subject to the sale, obviously.
But the one negative with that is I feel like that scenario I brought up with a lot of people and it scares them.
Oh yeah, it's
They don't-
terrifying.
Oh yeah,
it's
you know,
terrifying.
nobody likes to sell their house without having a place to go.
No,
But
of course not.
I mean, it's kind of, it's it's egotistical a little bit for, to say, oh, we're not going to have anywhere to go. If people tell me that, I just tell them, you're being too picky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, what I would probably do is, maybe sell first. And then if I felt the pressure, didn't find anything I liked, have a backup plan of
Right.
moving my stuff into a storage locker
Mhm.
and finding a rental for
It's
a
all
couple
about
months.
options.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much more inventory now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that you would
Yeah.
think that,
Mhm.
okay, now you're going to have a lot more choice.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you're not going to be able to make a strong offer if it's going to be subject to the sale of your house.
Yep.
Mhm. I would feel more
So-
comfortable now when we do have all
Right.
this inventory, as opposed to when there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
3 houses to
Yeah,
choose
2
from,
years
and
ago.
you're like,
Well,
maybe
then-
don't
yeah,
sell your
then
house.
it's more of a problem.
Yeah,
for sure.
But right now, there is lots coming up.
But then when there's no inventory, that person also has no problem selling their house
true.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can't win
either
both.
way,
Yeah.
you're getting
You're
screwed
never
a
going to
little
win
bit.
both, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, like, when I was looking at kind of the outlook for the next little bit, it kind of is showing that if trade stabilizes or rates drop, activity could improve. But until then, like, we basically can expect more of like a sideways market, sluggish in the near term, kind of the exact same thing we've noticed in like the last 6 months,
Mhm.
with no major crash indicators on the horizon as well. So basically,
Okay, but are there ever crash indicators? Like I'm seeing your notes and you're like, do we ever like? Are we like?
I
Oh yeah, there were
mean,
warning signs.
I
No, it comes out
mean,
of nowhere.
that's what it feels
usually.
like.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, when was the last time we experienced a crash?
2000 and
No.
well, sorry, I'm speaking. I was in the Whistler market
What's-
at that
Yeah.
time, and they
what's a
absolutely felt a
crash?
crash.
Yeah.
What's a
Victoria.
crash?
20, 30%.
We haven't really
more,
had one in
10%.
Victoria, though.
I don't think we've had any.
That's
since
the-
I've been
that's
here.
the
I haven't
thing.
seen
Yeah,
anything like
correction.
that.
We've had a correction,
correction.
which
Yeah.
I would say,
5%.
yeah, and 2022, 2023, we definitely saw price corrections for
Yep.
sure. I would say probably the bottom of the market that we're going to see for a little while.
And I mean, major crash indicator, like what could that be? I mean, COVID.
Yeah.
Or,
Wow.
or Trump actually does something even more crazy, starts a war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows?
But even
But,
still, people
um,
need to live somewhere. That's,
that's
the
true,
thing.
yeah.
So, and people now are feeling more comfortable in moving again, which I feel like for a while people were not
Had to
able
hunker
to move.
down,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had to hunker
Mhm.
down. They were
Yeah.
at 2%.
Great
Like
point.
they can't move into something where they're going to get 5%. So,
That's a good point.
yeah, I see a lot more people that have been in their house since, 2019, 2021, and they want to move.
Well, and we know that statistically, the average family moves every 5 to 7 years. So
Mhm.
we're right on
right
there.
on par. Yeah.
So
So,
Yep, it's coming.
mhm.
All right, guys. Any closing statements?
we're glad to have you back.
Yeah.
AJ.
Thanks,
Yeah.
For coming, thanks for coming home, Adrian.
No problem. Glad to be back. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening to the Victoria Real Estate Podcast produced by the City Nest team. We have had some fantastic reviews and we love them. So please leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you are listening. We also really appreciate you guys sharing the podcast with friends and family. Otherwise, everybody, how can we get in touch?
Email me, vincent@citynest.ca.
You can call me at 604-907-2074.
Yeah, just call me 250-858-7160.
And you can reach out to me, Adrian, at 250-464-4122 or on Instagram at Adrian Real Estate Victoria. Thanks, guys.